So, I'm really, really pleased to be here today. My name's Catherine Lookoff. My funny accent is from South Africa. Not Australian. Hi. Has it? So, unfortunately, there's just 3 of us today, but it's actually not unfortunately because we get to talk about a lot more topics. So, the topic today is innovation in live events. I happen to run a cloud innovation and AI company. About 15 years ago, I was involved in live eventing. During COVID, I was trying to help a couple of artists out of Nigeria and Kenya do live streaming as a side hustle. We'll get into all of that. But let's start with a round of introductions with Felix on my left.
Yeah, hey, I'm Felix Barros from Chile. I'm the president of the Music Tech Association of Chile. I'm the founder of Evento Medido for Spanish-speaking countries. Next year we will launch a measure event for the rest of the world. So it's a triple impact measurement service for events. That means that we measure the economic, environmental, and social cultural impacts for festivals, conferences, sports, competitions. And it's a startup, so we're actually in the middle of a consultancy company and going on the way to develop a software as a service tool. Well, I have been in the music industry for maybe 12 years. If I'm not considering just playing in a band since I'm very little and having shows and everything, I have been artist manager, tour manager. I'm the content director of a few conferences and festivals in Chile also. And yeah, I think that I'm like in the middle of music, tech, and policy making. Yeah.
Thank you. And Ward.
Hi everyone. I'm Ward, head of marketing at AVi Concerts, which is, in my view, the most beautiful, intense venue in the center of Brussels, next to Reflector, of course. Yeah. So yeah. Sorry. Shortly summarized, we organize around, I think, 400 to 500 concerts a year, with a mixture of international names, Belgian household names, such we had Stromae, we had Angèle. But also local talent, of course, that's quite important in our mission as well. Next to that, we have 2 summer festivals, one electronic music festival called Braindance in December, and more experimental discovery festival called Broadcast in April. And at AVi, I'm head of marketing. I'm responsible for ticketing, content, sales, concert promotion, partnerships as well with my colleague Elina right there. And from this point or from this view, I am quite involved in innovation at AVi. So it's also from this function, I'm a mentor in the California network, and I try to help startups in helping us as a venue to improve. And I think what's important or could be interesting in this context as well is that at AVi we have Live Europe, so we coordinate a platform of more than 20 venues across Europe, including Sala Apollo in Barcelona, Vega in Copenhagen, Kino Šiška in Ljubljana. The first function is to exchange talent, of course, but I think that platform is also perfect and perfectly suited to tackle innovation, because we all face the same problems. So at this point, for instance, we are joining forces with 3 to 5 venues. We try to apply for European funding and to organize music concerts in the metaverse on a bigger scale. So that's one example of how we try to use the platform to spur innovation. Because at AVi we are a non-profit organization, so we don't have that much budgets ourselves for innovation. So we need partners such as California or Live Europe to really get to the next step.
Amazing. Back office, do we have a timer, please? Otherwise we'll be here all day, but I'm sure everyone's going to get hungry for lunch. Great, thank you. So, gentlemen, let's chat about just the concept of live event, the concept of innovation. So if live events are the intention of bringing people together for shared experiences, and innovation is anything that's new and useful, right? It doesn't have to be a breakthrough, it can be a product, it can be a service, it can be a combination of. In your view, and perhaps just if we think of this as a back office versus front office, audience experience versus kind of measurement, KPI, impact on the end, what is your opinion in terms of innovation in the live eventing space right now?
Do I go first from from the back office. Well, I think that right now, like the most exciting innovations in live events is circular economy. Like, I'm also very excited about like new fun experiences and the metaverse and fun engagement solutions. But I think that actually the circular economy is like something that could actually save the world. And festivals and events are places where you can teach people, you can test and validate some ideas. And okay, if you can behave in a different way in the context of a festival, for example, that could leave you thinking like, okay, I could be doing this like every day, like this new behavior that was proposed or designed by the experience of a festival. So I know I think that there's a big opportunity in creating new products and services in circular economy. And I mean transportation, energy, food, beverages, like the whole efficiency of how you plan the experience of the event. And a few festivals are doing very interesting stuff in that field. I don't remember the name, but there's a festival in the Netherlands that's been doing this sort of prototypes for years. You know, the Netherlands, it's like...
Is it Best Kept Secret or no? No, the festival is called Best Kept Secret. Maybe that's the one of... Yeah, sorry, yeah.
That's a great name.
No. I don't remember, maybe. But yeah, like the Netherlands, it's like the capital of design thinking, and they are very inventive. So they have been creating these prototypes, like making burgers out of cockroach or different solutions. But now, also in Scandinavia, the Roskilde Festival has a circular lab. So they are bringing students and design students, engineering students to prototype. They provide a temporary space and place where you can test these things. And so I think that's the most exciting thing right now, that you can rethink the way that we live within this temporary town that is a festival, and you can like design the future, like urban planning, like so many fields. That I think that's why you can also involve policymakers and to make them understand that they should be investing and promoting these events.
So I'm going to come back to that, because I have an example of something from 15 years ago that I think is going to be really interesting to see how the behavior that was the festival is attempting to instill didn't necessarily cotton on. And I wonder sometimes whether mindset and tech are quite there yet, but I'm going to come back to
just a short example, the tents, the problem of the tents, like thousands of tents are left behind after a festival like Wacken or Hellfest, so that's a challenge where you can design I don't know, reusable tent or recyclable or something that you can upcycle or compost, or I don't know.
I kind of agree on that, because it's not the most sexy side of innovation, I think, but we should focus more on that. Like the talk yesterday about no music on a dead planet, I really love the way that they focus and they try to reframe innovation to what really matters. Next to that, I think at AVi, for instance, we work at different speeds. We look at innovation also improving what we are already doing. Like live streams, for instance, we have been streaming for more than 10 years, but only the past 2 years, like we have doubled our number of subscribers, number of viewers. The quality and the immersiveness of streams has like grown a lot. So that's very important for us at AVi at this point, because also on the front end, the audience, we really feel an acceptance of live streams. We get a lot of questions. Are you going to stream this band? Are we going to be able to watch it at home? And we didn't have that many questions before COVID. But we're stuck at the monetization side in this point. Like we have been doing live streams for free all those 10 years. We have streamed Patti Smith, Beck, Angèle, like Tamino, like a lot of Belgian bands, but also international names. But we were never able to really help artists monetize these streams. So the negotiations with the labels are still stuck. So if there's anyone in the room that can help us with that, that would be wonderful. But that's like what we have been doing, like improving that. And then we're also looking at things like NFTs, for instance, because it is exciting if you see what's happening at Coachella, Tomorrowland, Primavera NFTs. I really like the idea that the NFT is a gateway to new experiences, to more fan engagement, also a new way to monetize events. So I get excited by the idea, but I'm still curious about the outcome, because we still need to convince the audience that we're in it for the long run, that it's not just take the money and run, but that we really want to offer more engagement, more fun experiences. So that's something we are looking into at AVi as well. And also on the front end, we have been doing some virtual events. Last year we had the first virtual concert with motion capture, like really having a kind of copy of a live show in the virtual world. And then when I talked to Anne of Wristband yesterday, and also in the talk we heard a bit earlier on the day, I don't think that was the right strategy. We just tried to copy what we already had and bring it to the virtual world. We really need to rethink it and maybe work with quests or meet and greets, but not really just trying to copy the concert in the virtual world.
So in terms of your live streams, are you doing hybrid? So someone's already got a show on stage and then there's a stream at the same time? And the reason I ask that is I think one of the fascinating things we saw happen, especially with the Nigerian artists, right? It's their fans have an opportunity to be up close and personal. They can chat to them, they can, tip them. So we were using StageIt as a platform. The tech wasn't there. The setup has to, include lighting and film and you name it. And at the end of the day, Wi-Fi lets you down. But it's really hard for an artist to do a show and engage the audience in the crowd while still engaging an audience back home. And there are ways, obviously, to monetize it, but it's tough. And I think there's probably a really big learning curve for artists there too, to kind of figure out what that looks like and how they engage in those new spaces. So I'd be curious, do your artists bring innovations to you? Do they ask you guys to do specific things, or are you mostly trying to educate them as to what's possible?
We don't get many questions from artists. So like the live streaming idea, it started from AVi and we ask artists to participate. We have some small independent artists that really try to experiment with the live streaming idea or with the 360 idea, and we did some experiments with that. Like we did one with Konoba last year on stage. We just built like a 360 setup, and people could follow from different places in Brussels with the goggles, but it was still on a smaller scale. So it was an experiment. We really needed money from partners such as Proximus, our telecom partner, to get it funded. So at this point, it's still AVi doing the live streams and artists just allowing it to happen. So there's not really a lot of interaction between AVi and the artists when it comes to live streams. So we just have, for instance, Patti Smith on stage. She does her show and actually she doesn't notice anything about what's happening regarding live streams. So we just have 6 fixed cameras. We have one person like doing the live cut, and it's streamed at the same time on YouTube. That's how we do it right now. But we're looking for ways to like maybe build our own platform, making able to give tips to monetize, but we're not there yet.
Okay. Felix, I'm going to come to you, but I'm going to just stick with you for a second. So in terms of ticketing, easy access, contactless payments, that kind of stuff, are you guys bringing any of that in? Are you seeing it work anywhere out there in the festival space?
I think it will be a basic expectation of the audience of doing or offering cashless payment and having a flawless ticketing system. We are making steps, but for us, like the cashless system, we still work with like little coins.
Okay.
And a lot of, I'm going to be honest about it, a lot of these coins, they just stay in the pockets of the people. So at the end of the year, we actually have sold a lot of coins that are not used and that will never be used. So for us, it's sometimes a financial decision to just wait and see and maybe go cashless in 1 year or 2 years. But at this point, just wait and see and still use the system we are using.
It's a great business model if no one's actually cashing those chips in, right? I'm not sure you want to change that. So Felix, let's chat. I was involved in a festival in 2005, giving away my age here, where Web2 just launched, and kind of two of the biggest things we brought in on that was a blogger lounge behind the scenes, right? Backstage blogger lounge. Blogging was big. And we had Levi's and Red Bull and all these amazing guys involved, but the festival is completely carbon neutral. It's called Rocking the Daisies. And despite every effort to use green material, bring in, sustainable options, the next morning that festival ground was so littered, we got the worst press you can ever imagine. And it took 4 or 5 years for that to really kind of come into consciousness. And so you guys measure impact. I know that you're starting to look at an AI algorithm that can predict carbon footprint. Curious to know how you convince people that this is something that they should really be looking at.
Yeah, first of all, some impact KPIs will help you to bring some partners in and convince them. So there are many uses of the kind of KPIs that we are bringing, because we started with economic and touristic impact based on the Wish You Were Here report. It's a music tourism report made in the UK since like 2010, I think. And since they first measured the economic impact of music tourism, meaning like people going to festivals or just going to Abbey Road to take a selfie crossing the street, well, they found out that it was a huge economic impact. And as they had this data, they could go to policymakers and leaders and, I don't know, Chamber of Commerce and Tourism, whatever, and convince them to invest in music and provide a better music tourism experience to the audience, the people that are going to events and so on. So we were inspired by that. In 2017, we made the first impact measurement in a festival in Latin America, in Valparaiso. And that was one of the things that changed the perception of policymakers in Valparaiso towards music. So that's how we convinced the mayor and the Ministry of Economy and Culture and the Chamber of Commerce that we could apply to UNESCO for the Creative City of Music nomination, and that could help us to develop the economy of the city. Valparaiso is like a very poor city, but it's a city of artists. We joke about it because no one is coming to the shows because everyone is an artist. Everyone is performing, so you don't have any audience. But that's how Valparaiso is right now. You have all sorts of artists. It's like a very vibrant city, a multicultural city. And, well, that's how I got into the KPIs side of it. I mean, before that, we were a concert discovery app, like Bands in Town or Songkick. Yeah. Then we found out that we had in our database like 5 times more shows that what the Ministry of Culture was saying that were like the total concerts of in a year in Chile. So that's when we said, okay, we have interesting data here. We can provide market research services, map the musical scene. That's how we also made the first like heat map of the musical scene in Valparaiso. Okay. Per different genres, and we got KPIs of the number of shows and the cost of the tickets and so on. And all of this was like very important to get the Creative City of Music nomination. And after that, we had this argument to go knock the doors of the policymakers. Okay, we got it, now give me the money. So it's been a very interesting process. So that's one use, like, okay, the use for policymaking and for convincing public institutions to give you money or get grants to fund your festival or your event. But then there's also like the sponsorships side, how to have a better image in front of the community, like you're being more sustainable in front of the audience. So many sites.
And the forward prediction, I mean, are you able to go to Tomorrowland and say, we think the impact of your festival is going to be X?
That's what we're building right now. It's like a very early stage development, because in our roadmap, right now we provide the impact measurement service, but still it relies heavily on surveys and like spreadsheets, templates, and so on. And that's what we blend into a business intelligence tool. We create the dashboards, then we analyze the dashboards and provide a report with storytelling and infographics, so that the event can report and do their accountability process with all the stakeholders that they need to, public, private, local community, and so on. So in our roadmap, the challenge is how do we replace every data set that we need with something that doesn't rely on surveys or asking people things, but connecting through an API or getting data from device geolocation, and that's what we're doing to.
Yeah, with this in mind, I have a question. Like, is there like a ready-on-the-shelf framework that you could, like, if we as AVi would like to work with you, like, is there a framework you can offer, and is this like a process of 1 year, and then you have your KPIs and report, or is it like always custom-made, messy process of getting there?
It's like exactly what you said at first. We have the basic model that is like selling the impact measurement for an event, but then we are building like the annual subscription, more oriented to venues, where you have like a constant measurement of what is happening. And some of the information has to be gathered event by event, but then you have like some other information that, I don't know, energy consumption or other, that you can bring into the dashboard, and then we include like an annual report on the impacts with the infographics. And then there's the AI side of the thing, that we are partnering with a Chilean startup that is working with like geolocation of devices, anonymous information, but still geolocation. So we can say, okay, this is the polygon where the venue is, how much people is there, how many people. Of course, it's not everyone that we can track, but it's like 5% of the population. We can make a projection with that, know where these people lives, and cross the database with the census, so we can have like an economical classification, and we can know like, okay, how many miles they travel, what kind of transportation, probably, and that's how we can predict the carbon footprint of transportation, which is like 90% of the emissions of a big event.
Okay, so, and I really want to see that in action, so when you're ready, please let me know. But I'd be curious, so this is an industry that's really been hit hard by the proverbial pandemic. So I'd be curious to know, especially on your side, Ward, how much of the business that you're executing, kind of the shows you're doing at the moment, relies on innovation, so trying to wow people, versus just falling back on the things that used to work? And do you see that pushing the boundaries on the innovation side is really making a difference to your bottom line?
Good question. I think like if I approach it, the core experience stays the same. Like the live concert is, and even in the beginning more intense, because people haven't been experiencing live shows for, I think, more than 2 years. So the core experience stays the same, but I think it's after COVID, it's the right time to use technology and to add extra layers on the concert, or build extra blocks around the concert. So we feel that it takes a lot of time now and investment to get people back to the venue, to spur loyalty, because we really felt that we lost a part of the audience. So now we're looking into technology and look at ways how these can help us to I don't know, like add layers, like for instance, make the core experience, the show, more immersive with innovation in lighting, sound, video. If you see the Stromae show this Sunday, you will get what I mean. But also adding layers, like literally layers, using AR, what they did at Coachella or Electric Daisy Festival, or using NFTs to as gateways to new experiences. For AVi, these are all like extra building blocks to get people earlier in the experience and let them really have this social act of experiencing music together. So I'm quite positive about the future of live events. I think the impact will only grow, but we really need to use technology to engage fans, to stimulate fan engagement, and also to like stimulate monetization, because we were having a hard time regarding ticketing sales. So also using data for sales prediction and getting more out of your data is more important now than it was 3 years ago. Like 3 years ago, sure, we kind of sold out every show at AVi. And now we really need to dig into the data and use business intelligence to get people back to the venue. So in that point, this is a crucial point for us as AVi to invest in innovation.
Amazing. So we have 4 minutes left. Are there any questions from the audience? I'm not sure if you need a mic.
I can shout at a loud voice.
You can use mine. We can share.
What? No. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I heard you talking a lot about user experience, sustainability. Is there any innovation in the festival world, or in festival, or in the club world regarding music rights? I mean, transmitting the playlist data, or making sure that payments are done faster. I know it's a completely different topic that you were talking about, but I kind of missed this in the panel so far. So
yeah,
thank you.
actually, Chris is called Chris Mills, I think, from Odoo, is here. Yeah, so he's the chief marketing officer of this solution. There is like a small device that you plug in your venue, and it can track the music and report. Perfect. So that, it solves this problem.
But for live events,
not for live. It's for venues that are playing music. So yeah, I don't know if there's a solution like for reporting the.
I think their next step would be live events. I think their next step would be also to implement it in live events. And I'm not sure about, but there are people of Sabam here at the conference, and I think they're also looking into it, like how to make it more flawless, because at this point it's still a mess, actually.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else have a question?
Hi. My question is around live streaming, actually. It still feels like quite a challenge to make a live stream monetizable and also just an entertaining proposal for someone to part money to actually gain access or buy a ticket. In your learnings, is there anything that felt like a breakthrough? There are big productions like the things that Dua Lipa and people like that do, but they're multi-million-pound productions with huge costs. On a smaller level, particular, I'm interested if you had any key learnings from your experiments on what worked, what didn't.
What we have experienced is that of course you can invest a lot of money and make like a very big production, but that's not always what our audience has been looking for. So I think at AVi, for instance, we made the right choice to make it as small and flexible as possible. So like if an artist agrees on doing a live stream tomorrow, we can just call 2 people, they do the live stream, and we have it right there. We just have the basic equipment, and we don't need extra people to make the production works. And I think we made the right choice there, because now we see an increasing volume of artists, like really a high willingness to engage in live streams. And if you always look at it as like a very big production with 4 extra cameras, with live director, I don't think you have a sustainable business model. At this point, we can do a live stream with a very low cost. We have way more artists engaging in live streams, and the audience really accepts the fact of live streams. I think Benji also told it, like there are a lot of people that just want to stay home and not really want to go to a concert. So we can already service them, but we are only looking for like the right platform to monetize, or to be able to give tips, or to really engage with the artists. So
on that point, just working with Stage, what is so fascinating, Benji mentioned something similar, like $20, but someone would buy it for $50. And what we were seeing is that kind of competition element, like I've tipped and now someone else is tipping, and becoming the top tipper and having the artists actually say, well, they'll phone them after the show, or you can come and be in my next music video. If you're a fan of P Squared, all you want to do is be in their next music video, and they tip big money for it, sometimes over 100 times what the ticket cost. So that's fascinating, but giving them the opportunity to do it is making it accessible.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment that we have also measured online events like streams and hybrid events. So we measure like the potential monetization of the audience and the views, and that's something that we had to include in our service during the pandemic. And just a quick tip, we are looking for a lead investor for our pre-seed round, and we will probably be moving to Europe very soon.
I think we have time for one more.
Oh, okay, thanks. All pressure on me then. When you're talking about monetizing live streams and tipping and stuff like that, I think there are things in place to do that, even on YouTube. But is the least frictionless way of monetizing is selling tickets for live streams? What are your learnings on willingness to pay, especially for a Belgian audience? Because I know Belgian audience is not really willing to pay for live streams. What have you learned during
the experiments that have been done in Belgium were not really spectacular regarding willingness to pay. Like if you really ask €5 for a ticket for a live stream, in the beginning you had like some higher numbers because of actually it was kind of a charity for artists that couldn't perform. Okay, I will buy a ticket, but after 1.5 years, you could really see the willingness to pay drop there.
Yeah.
But then again, we are doing a lot of live streams of sold out tickets. Some of the times we have waiting list, like 24th of August we have Idols, and we have our main hall is 2,000 capacity, and we have 2,000 people on the waiting list. So that would be a very good case. Like, why wouldn't you pay like for 2 or 3 more euros to follow the live stream? But then again, the contracts we negotiate with labels are completely different, and now we have like very basic agreements based on a free live stream on YouTube. If we talk about monetization, the negotiation completely changes.
Can I add a little thing?
You're between these people and lunch, so
yes,
it's up to you and them. No, go for it. I mean, if everyone else is happy, go for it.
No, but the thing is that there's a growing discrepancy then between a rising number of artists wanting to engage in live streams and you offering like frictionless and cheap solutions, but there's no audience willing to pay for the live streams. Is there a way, or how do you see? Is there a way you see in solving that discrepancy?
I think if you have like a platform that offers more gamification, more like not only broadcasting but really having an interaction with the artist and a gamification element, I think that could increase the willingness to pay, because then you really have the idea that you're experiencing something completely different. Now it's just broadcasting the live show that's happening in our venue, and I think we need to add an extra layer on it in order to make people pay for the experience.
So I'm not in live music, but I lectured in music industry for the last couple of years. I also work for the BPI. And one thing I was saying to my students 2 years ago when we were in the middle of the lockdown is premium product, upsell the people in the room, the live stream afterwards, another $5 or €5 on top. They don't have to whip their phones out and ruin the concert for everyone else, and everyone gets a high video recording at the end of it to stream afterwards on demand. That's an opportunity possibly for the future.
Good one.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, Felix and Ward, and I hope you all have a fantastic day.